Mrs. Winter?
Hi, Rodney. Well, I've been hearing a great deal about you from the nurses and our mutual Dr. Rossi, and, well, I just thought I'd come and see for myself.
I see you're in a wheelchair. I hope it's not serious.
You know, the whole quarter's buzzing about you. I mean, you must have a lot of visitors, huh?
No, not really.
Oh, sure you do. Lots of visitors, and I bet they brought you lots of gifts, right?
No, sorry.
Rod, you gotta have some liquor here.
Some liquor? No. Don't.
Well, sure, when people visit sick friends in the hospital, they always bring something like liquor or whatever.
No.
Well, I bet I know what you have. I bet I know you have some candy, right?
I'm sorry, there's no candy.
Sure you have candy. Well, you're right. No candy and no booze. Well, strike out. I'm here to dry out.
Dry out?
Yeah, the cure and treatment for drunks. Does it shock you to know that the minister's wife is the town lush?
I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't ask if you knew. I asked you if you were shocked.
No.
Well, that means yes, I guess. Well, they think they're going to cure me, but I doubt if they will. But I wish you were bartending now.
I couldn't even mix a glass of chocolate milk.
I heard you had a rough go of it. But you certainly came through with everybody loving you. But who would love a boozer except another boozer? You know, the best thing that could happen to me is what's happened to you. I mean, that way everybody would come see me, you know. My husband would be kneeling at my bed and saying the prayer of prayers. You know, I'm going to make a trade with you. Your agony for my thirst. And with that note, I'm off to look for the rubbing alcohol.
Don't drink hospital alcohol, Mrs. Winter. It'll kill you.
I'll dilute it, okay?
It'll kill you.
You're a good boy, Rodney.
It'll kill you.
I'm curious, Mrs. Thomas. How did the baby seem to respond to being left with someone else last night?
There didn't seem to be any problem, Your Honor.
It's interesting that she could be so well adjusted in view of the way she's been bounced around.
Well, maybe that's some indication, Your Honor, of how much love she's received.
Yes, it could be.
See, I've been a witness to that love ever since Jill Smith first came to Peyton Place.
Your Honor, I don't mean to discredit Mrs. Thomas's investigation in any way. It's just that there are personal problems in the Winter home that she wasn't aware of.
Have you read the report?
Yes, sir. It indicates that there was marital tension in the Winter home. That wasn't evident to Mrs. Thomas when she approved of the plans for Jill to live there, but it doesn't detail the nature or the extent of that tension.
And you can?
Well, if I have to, in order to prove that Jill wasn't immorally involved with Reverend Winter, yes. Mrs. Winter is a very unhappy woman. Now, I think her incapacitation at the moment is proof of that. And I think that Dr. Rossi can prove to your satisfaction that her alcoholism predates Jill's entrance into the home.
Yes?
She's wanted her husband to leave the ministry for a very long time. Nothing she's tried has been successful. So she came up with a bizarre plan to prove to him that he was unfit to lead others along a path he couldn't possibly follow.
Are you suggesting that she brought Miss Smith into her home to try to involve Mr. Winter in an improper relationship?
Exactly.
Mr. Cord, you have a responsibility, whether addressing me here in the chambers or down the hallway in the courtroom.
I am prepared to prove that the only improper actions on the part of anyone in this whole matter are those of Mrs. Susan Winter.
How?
By requesting that Your Honor issue a subpoena for her testimony under oath. Now, a deposition can be taken in her hospital room today. A while ago, I asked her for a volunteer statement. She refused.
How did you happen to gain knowledge of this presumed plan of Mrs. Winter?
She told me.
Why?
I don't know exactly. It was on an occasion when we were both very depressed.
Was she drinking at the time?
Yes. I can get that same statement for you today.
When she's sober as a judge?
Your Honor, my only concern is the reputation of my client.
It should be for the welfare of this child. I think that's what all of this is really about, isn't it?
Your Honor, isn't there some indication in that history of yours that Jill Smith still loves the baby?
Yes, I'd say so.
All right. Now, Mrs. Thomas here has already told you she's contacted Jill's parents, and neither one of them are the least bit interested in the situation. Now, if the question we're trying to discuss here is one of morality, isn't the primary question whether or not it's moral to separate two people, two human beings, from one another when they need and love each other? Or if you're looking for some permanent plan, a place for them to live, all right, I can handle that. I mean, I'm the child's natural uncle. If there's something my brother can't handle financially, I'll be more than happy to help him with it.
It's very generous of you, Dr. Rossi. But financial arrangements are not my only concern. I'd say that both mother and child are in need of ample supervision for some time.
Well, look, I'm sure we can work something out.
Be practical, Dr. Rossi. You are chief of staff of a hospital. Your heavy schedule simply will not allow you to take on this kind of responsibility. I think you can ask the young lady to step in now, Mrs. Thomas.
But what about the deposition, Your Honor?
Mr. Cord, I don't know this young lady outside of what I've read here. And I don't know Mrs. Winter either. But I have had occasion to spend time with Mr. Winter. And I don't think we should go out of our way to try to cause trouble for the kind of man who has dedicated his life to helping other people out.
So we sacrifice an innocent person instead?
The way I see it, the only unjust sacrifice would be in allowing this child to be bounced around from pillar to post any longer.
Your Honor, do you actually think this young girl is going to care anything about molding herself into something worthwhile if you take the only thing she's ever loved in this world away from her?
I am as convinced as you are, Dr. Rossi, that this girl loves her baby. And I am equally convinced that there were extenuating circumstances that led to her leaving the Winter home.
Yes, sir.
But I don't feel that there's any need for a sworn statement as to the exact nature. That would only make things more sticky than they are already.
Your Honor.
The penultimate question seems to be, is this girl emotionally ready to have custody of the child? I'm inclined to think not.
But, Your Honor...
I said the penultimate question, Dr. Rossi. The final question, of course, is whether she will ever be able to provide the kind of stability so necessary in a good parent. I think only time will answer that question for us.
Jill? Come on in.
Oh, won't you ladies sit down, please? I've just finished reviewing things, Miss Smith.
Are you going to take her?
Well, you know, when the first custody hearing took place, you were told you would have to obtain suitable employment and provide a suitable atmosphere for your baby.
You are going to take her.
Only temporarily, I hope. The child will be well looked after, and you will have the chance of situating yourself properly and preparing yourself for the task of looking after a baby.
When do you want her?
Well, I thought perhaps since things worked out so well last night with this young couple, and since you know them, I'd rather not have to go to our files on foster parent homes. Strangers.
Jill, take her.
Jill.
Miss Smith.
Jill?
Jill! Jill! It's locked. Jill?
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place. Why should I feel sorry for a chick like that? It makes her own trouble and enjoys every minute of it.
Why don't you give her a break? Why don't you just get out of her life?
Something's bothering him. Psychologically, there seems to be a certain depression. I do hope you'll always be frank with me in the interest of your husband's recovery.
Carolyn?